We got a new technology. We have Facebook. We have MySpace. We have Twitter. That, if we didn't have those around the world, many of those movements may not have happened, because if we're counting on the corporate media to get the message out, wow, we will be left in despair.
Okay, but you have to reach the people in the corporate message house. I mean, they need to understand too. Because, first place, I'm convinced we're all on the same side. That it can't get better for them until it gets better for us. And when I say us, I mean basically people who are
99%.
the 99%. And that's another figure you all ought to use all the time. That in the years when America was going well, the 99% had almost 90% of the wealth. And the top 1% had maybe 10%. And between 10 and 16%, the top 1% does all right, and we do all right. In 2007, the top 1% ended up with 27% of the wealth. And that's when our problem became. That's when they began to suck money from the middle class. And that's when the equilibrium, of the American economy got destabilized. Because the 1% was not taking that 27% and putting it back in America. They were spreading it all over the world. Now, some of that is good.
Right, some.
And even during the 10%, we invested in the Marshall Plan and redeveloped the world. But it wasn't at the expense of what was happening here.
Yeah, many of us believe in free and fair trade, but not necessarily free trade.
Well, it needs to be free and fair.
Can I ask you?
We missed the very beginning of this. Can you tell us why you came out here and what the message is?
Because I wanted to listen to people like this.
And what do you think after speaking?
No, I think there's some very smart kids out here and elderly people. And I think they have legitimate issues that I hope the American people all come to understand, whether they agree with them or not.
But you believe they should leave the park, is that right?
Well, I think that it's in their interest for them to decide on their own that they've made their message here and move on, but not stop. And I'm afraid that if they're closed down, some people will get discouraged and they'll stop. And I don't want it to stop. I want it to find a continuing form. And what the young man has talked about is that, and I don't understand it, but the Twitter and Facebooks and the means of communication. See, what I really would hope is that we are close enough in Atlanta so that what happens in Atlanta would begin to set the patterns for what happens in New York and Chicago. See, in New York and Chicago, young folk are getting beat up and getting pushed around. They're getting locked up, having to get lawyers and bonds, and some of them are going to lose their spirit. I don't want that to happen here. I want this to be the center of people talking together, working together, thinking together, and helping to guide the nation in solving these problems.
You want to
That's
avoid
what Atlanta.
confrontation in spite of the message not being delivered?
Oh no! The message is never going to be delivered in 1 or 2 days or one